going on, everybody? This is the Wisdom Matrix. This video is about how to this video is you could almost call it a part 2 to the last video I just made today, which was how radicalization works and some real examples of how this happens in everyday life, or something like to that effect. And this one is going to be called how to remove or diminish radicalization from your life. This comes partly from a book that I've talked about on this channel a little bit, indirectly in some ways, but it's called Radical Distortion. And I've talked about some of the stuff that it's talked about, actually, which is pretty interesting. But it gives us 7 steps. So what is radicalization, right? Because I've talked about this before, but what exactly, how exactly does it happen? Well, it happens because of, say, somebody says something that attacks another group or something. Like, say somebody says something like, "All Republicans are evil. It's dangerous to elect him to power. We have to unelect him. We have to stop them at any means necessary." That would be radicalization. That's called attacking speech. Basically, this is when somebody attacks a certain group or whatever. You could say that, like, racism and prejudice is like this as well. And this doesn't just happen with politics. I think it happens in everyday life in some ways, because when you think of somebody as annoying, you're not just going to be like, "Oh man, that person is great." I mean, you may do that, but for the most part, when your emotions are high, you're not going to say, "Oh, this person is awesome, but it's just annoying right now." You're going to be like, "Wow, this person is annoying. This person's an asshole." So in that case, you're using attacking speech against somebody. You're not doing this intentionally. You're not doing this to intentionally be divisive. And I don't think most people who are using attacking speech is doing it intentionally to divide the country. I think they're doing it because they're too caught up in their emotions, which is why I'm making this video. So the first step is to realize this, not to endorse it. Realize that there may be more to the situation that this person is not aware of, or isn't seeing, or maybe that you're not aware of, or that you're not seeing. So you have to slow down. This is actually something that I haven't really talked about, because I actually forgot about it to some extent. But basically what this means is that when you become emotional about something, whatever it might be, you start rushing to judgment. I almost think this is true anyways, not necessarily even rushing to judgment, just rushing around and doing all kinds of different things. I think this is true pretty much all the time. And I might make a video about this. I'm going to make a video about this later, because this is so important that it deserves another video. I mean, there's more involved here that he talks about in this book, but I'm going over the general rules so I don't take another 30-minute video like the last one was. But so one of the steps actually that he talked about is be aware of what the person is saying, but be aware of your emotions at the same time. Be aware of what's happening inside of you. Be aware of your feelings and thoughts and things like that. That's actually something that I've talked about on this channel, because I think that's important when you're dealing with these problems, to be aware. So that's why it's important to, be aware of what's happening. Why is this happening inside of me? What is causing this? Why do I feel like I have to defend this identity? Is this because I feel like this is my sense of self? This is like me? Group labels are, used in this way. Instead of, calling somebody yourself like human or whatever, you might call yourself like a Democrat or a Republican or whatever it might be. Anything at all but what, anything at all except for the things that you you actually are, like, human or whatever. You might think of yourself as this, but you don't actually, like, see yourself as this for the most part. It's mostly about your different group labels. And that's why it's important to be open-minded. That's part of the steps that I talked about. I mean, there's 7 different steps. Like I said, I might do a review on this book one day, maybe. But I think one of the most important parts of this is to just see everybody, as I've talked about before. He talked about this to some extent as well, but basically just see everybody as like you having a difficult time or experience, because when you're emotionally involved, like angry or frustrated, you don't act like the kindest person in the world for the most part. I mean, you might, but I doubt it. This is not a judgment. This is not me saying, oh, you're unkind, you're bad, or you're evil. This is me just saying, well, this is just how it happens. This is what emotions do. This is why it's important to slow down whenever you can. Like, this doesn't mean you have to like stop doing things. It just means to slow down when you're doing things. Oftentimes we find ourselves moving really fast, really quickly. I mean, I do this even now. Like before I was doing this, now I'm slowing down a little bit. And what this does is you don't have enough calmness or wiseness to move about your day. You're not calm. You're what you would call normal, I suppose. But normal isn't necessarily better or easier or whatever it might be. And slowing yourself down is another way to calm yourself down pretty quickly. Because your mind likes to go, well, maybe not necessarily likes to go, but it does like to go faster than it probably should. And so this causes you to rush to judgment or rush around doing things. That's why you end up forgetting things. I mean, that's not necessarily the reason why, but it is one reason why. And so I'm going to do a video about how to slow down, or a video about slowing down, because it is important. And I think this is true not just for radicalization, but for like everything. Reason why people have anxiety and stuff like that is because they don't slow their mind down. Just slow down. And one way to do that is just to slow down your movements. Feel yourself breathing or any other techniques that I've talked about that'll slow you down. Or you can just slow your mind down. Or you can just like start talking like you would be thinking and just slow that speech down to a certain level. Slow it down a little more. And that actually slows your mind down because you're thinking more. Because what happens is when you're speaking faster, your mind tries to keep up, and when it does this, it loses things. I've noticed this before. I was going to do a whole video about radicalization today, about how radicalization works. But I didn't actually give a whole lot of solutions because I was going really fast. I'm like, wow, I want to really do this video. And so I was going so fast and rushing around so much that I neglected a bunch of the solutions that could be done. This is what happens when you speed up. Actually, another good example of me doing this is today I was, normally when I take our dog outside, because we have a dog now right now for forever this time, but normally when I take him outside or try to take him outside, he like tries to run away from me because he doesn't like to get the leash. But I decided, wait, maybe I should just slow down a little bit. Maybe I'm going a little too fast. He's getting a little too nervous. So I slowed down, and it turns out that it actually did work a little bit. I mean, I'm sure he would have struggled if I would have waited a little bit longer, but actually slowing down made the process go by faster. And so we went outside, and normally what would have happened is I would have followed him around a little bit, and he would have ran away from me because I was going too fast or something. So I said, maybe I should just slow down again. So I slowed down, And what ended up happening is he didn't move away from me when I came closer. So I slowed my mind down to such a level that he wasn't threatened by me at this point. So this is what slowing down seems to do. I mean, maybe I'm ascribing something that's not actually here, but to this, maybe I'm ascribing meaning to this when there actually is no meaning here. But it does seem to be true.
Speech on. Boss Junior active.
So
Swipe close. Activate default. Boss.
Then you can do this
Boss
with your
Junior. Artist name.
children.
The Wisdom Matrix.
You could do this with your children as well. If they seem to be going really fast or really anxious or something like that, you can slow yourself down. Just slow way down. I know that sometimes it can be hard to do this because there's a lot of things that have to be done. But take my word for it. That speeding up does not help at all because you end up forgetting things and you end up doing things wrong. So slow way down as much as you can down. I mean, you don't have to stop and you don't have to go really, really slow or anything, but just slow down a little bit. And slowing down a little bit does calm your mind a lot. So
Finish recording button. 11:22.
I mean, I could literally make a whole video about that because that's a very important thing to, talk about. But I don't know. Maybe I won't because I pretty much talked about it here. So anyways, this is the Wisdom Matrix.
11:35. Finish recording button.
This is the Wisdom Matrix. And if you like this video, please like it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos from me in the future. And share it with other people if you got some kind of benefit from it so they can get the same benefits as you did. This is the Wisdom Matrix, and I'll see you in the next video.